Good morning, friends. I'm about to head off to work right now. Literally pulling out of my house. Although, if you're really good, one day you can probably figure out where I live based on that little short clip. It is kind of trippy you can do shit like that. Anyway, but again, unsurprisingly, I don't have much of a... Oh, Bunny, you fucking idiot. Alright, he lived. Alright, but I wanted to talk about bonds. Riveting shit, right? They actually are pretty fucking riveting because the whole financial system, this is gonna be an oversimplification, but people just need to demystify that shit. It's literally it's a resource management strategy game, and typically more like grand strategy, a la like CK2 and shit. And bonds are tools that can only be used by the larger factions in the game, like institutions. I mean, anyone can use them, but it's not really effective to you unless you have the numbers to make it not matter what the yield really is, because the dollar amount of the yield far outweighs the little percentage yield you get. Because, say you got $1,000, you get a bond that yields 5%, you get $50. Will be. But then you have $10 million and you get a bond that yields 5%, and then you get $500,000. I'm not the best at math. I'm better at English and history and science and shit. But still love finance. Pretty sure 5% of 10 million is 500,000. Yeah. But yeah, so that's literally fucking crazy. And, you got institutions out there with literally billions of dollars to throw at bonds. So, yeah. After that, though, I wanted to talk about colonialism and imperialism again. These things were things that could only be done before the era of harm reduction occurred, and that was spawned from the different equality movements in America, which is not a bad thing, but some harm is good, because I don't know if you guys know about the rat utopia experiment, but when put in perfect conditions, these rats literally self-imploded. They started eating each other and shitting on each other. They had space, plenty of space. Look it up. Look up the rat utopia experiment. I don't know. Humans are we have the same framework as rats. We are more complex just because we have more of it. But in this rat utopia experiment, they had unlimited food, unlimited water, no predators, plenty of shelter for 10 plus generations. They got 3 or 4 generations in, and they started to congregate in one small area and shit and piss and eat each other. And then there was a small subsection that the researcher called the beautiful ones that just sat around and licked each other all day and didn't do all that shit until they died. I think this is a great metaphor for the that corona is getting my... No, it's not. I'm young and virulent, bitch. So these fucking cars, bro. Fuck. Yeah, I think that's a great analogy for people in cities nowadays, especially if they're part of the welfare state, and then elites, the beautiful ones, and the others are the normal rats that are, shitting, eating, and pissing on each other. Additionally on that shit, it's always shocked me how lucky the West got when they found the New World, because our diseases, at least as far as I know, anthropologists have been suggesting, our diseases wiped out 9/10 of Native Americans. That is just absolutely loopy. I doubt the West could have done half of what it did in the New World if even that number was cut in half. Like 4.5 out of 10 Native Americans died instead of 9 out of 10. If that had been the case, I think we would have maybe had small colonies like we had in other places that weren't as wiped out by the disease. Like I know India was completely just fucking mogged by a private company. But like China, all we ever got was Hong Kong there, really. Like we had a little bit of influence in other places, but I don't think we would have had the entire continent spanning ability to colonize. So, but I have heard there's no such thing as a coincidence, so maybe if that had happened, there wouldn't be anybody to stop, or at least to add more resistance to the more authoritarian regimes. But I don't know. I get too speculative for my own sake, probably. Anyway, God bless.